Hi geniuses! Today we're going to be working on equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are fractions that look different but describe the same part of a whole. Here's an example. 2/4 is equivalent or equal to 1/2. You're probably saying, huh? How are those even? They look completely different. How are they the same? I'm going to show you how with a drawing. If I take a circle and divide it into two parts and shade in one part, it will look like that. And then if I take another circle that's the same size and divide it into four pieces, because that's what the denominator tells me, and shade in two pieces, because that's what the numerator tells me, you'll notice that the same part of each circle has been shaded in. Half, actually, of each circle has been shaded in. And that is exactly what an equivalent fraction is. Fractions that look different but describe the exact same part of a whole. In order to find equivalent fractions, you need to either multiply or divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number. You'll notice that to get from 2 to 4, we need to multiply by 2. And to get from 1 to 2, we need to multiply by 2 as well. So that's the rule for this equivalent fraction. In order to find another equivalent fraction, all we would need to do is multiply 4 times 2, which we know equals 8, and multiply 2 times 2, which is 4. We've multiplied the numerator and the denominator by the exact same number, which is how we find an equivalent fraction. So now we know that 1/2 is equal or equivalent to 2/4 and to 4/8. These three are equivalent fractions. You won't always be given the whole fraction. Sometimes you'll actually need to be able to figure out what the rule is so you could find an equivalent fraction. For that, we're going to need to erase. Let me find my eraser here somewhere. Here we go. All right. This time, we're going to start with 2/4 again, but we're only given the denominator of the second fraction. It's our job to find that missing numerator. In order to find the missing numerator, we need to find the rule that describes the relationship between this denominator and that denominator. Very similar to what we were doing with input-output. So 4 to 8. I know that it's increasing, so it either needs to be addition or multiplication. But lucky for us, when it comes to equivalent fractions, addition is out. It's either multiplication or division. And because we know that the number is increasing, it has to be multiplication. So 4 times what number gives me 8? I'm going to count by 4 and see how many times until I get to 8. 4, 8. Just 2. So 4 times 2 equals 8. Now that I have the rule, I just need to do the same thing for the numerator. Because to find an equivalent fraction, you need to do the same thing to the denominator and the numerator. 2 times 2 is 4. This way, we've just found equivalent fractions by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by 2. Sometimes, you're going to need to divide. For this example, 3/9 equals a certain number of thirds. You'll notice here the number is going down. So we know from our study of input-output that it's either subtraction or division. But lucky for us, subtraction is out. You cannot find equivalent fractions by subtracting, just as you cannot find equivalent fractions by adding. So it's a division rule. 9 divided by what gives me 3? I'm going to count by 3. 3, 6, 9. 3. Apply that rule above. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. So 3/9 is equivalent or equal to 1/3. I hope this has given you a good introduction to equivalent fractions.